25 years either.
That's good. I appreciate that. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I appreciate everybody's attendance today. As Brenda just pointed out, OPQ, the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality, is indeed the host office this year. So I'm proud of the program that we've put together. I'm going to basically show you how the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality is organized, and based on that organization, how this presentation over the next 2 days, or the presentations over the next 2 days, actually reflects what we do and how we do that work. So the topic for today, at least my presentation, is the importance of quality in our medicines. So what I'm asking is for all of you to join us in terms of a commitment to quality itself. So in terms of the outline, we're going to talk about pharmaceutical quality. What does it mean? Why is it important? Hopefully it's self-evident why it's important, especially with all the things that you see around pharmaceutical quality or lack thereof in a lot of the either trade journals or in the news lately. I'll talk to you a little bit about the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality, kind of how we're organized, give you a little understanding of that. Our strategic priorities. The reason why I want to go over the strategic priorities is because those priorities will lay the foundation for the presentations that you will see over the next 2 days. So we're really organizing it around the priorities that are set forth within the office. And then just have some concluding remarks as well. So in terms of the learning objectives, we need to understand what is meant by pharmaceutical quality, and then learn and appreciate the priorities of the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality. Because again, those priorities are what we focus on. That's what drives the vision, mission of the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality. It's really what's going to drive the next 2 days for the symposium itself. So in terms of pharmaceutical quality, a quality product of any kind consistently meets the expectations of the user. It seems to be common sense. People know that for computers that they have, the cars that they drive, the cell phones or the smartphones that they use. So that also applies to drugs. Drugs are no different. So really we want to make sure that we consistently meet the expectations of the user. The user would consist of either a patient or a consumer. We're all consumers, so therefore we take drugs, whether they're OTCs, whether they're prescription drugs, things along those lines, and you want these drugs to meet those expectations. So patients expect safe and effective medicine with every dose they take. We always hear people talk about the safety and efficacy of drugs. One of the things that that's sort of implied in that is that the quality is existent within those drugs, but they never call it out. So typically when I talk about safety and efficacy of drugs, I also bring into play, obviously, the quality of those drugs as well. So you need to have those 3 parts that need to come together. So pharmaceutical quality is assuring every dose is safe and effective, free of contamination and defects. So typically the way I define quality, or another way I define quality, is the safety and efficacy of the next dose. So let me just repeat that. It's the safety and efficacy of the next dose. It's another way to look at quality as well. It's what gives patients confidence in their next dose of the medicine. So it's simply put. So a little bit of a history of quality events that led to some of the acts and regulations, laws that have come into play around quality. Congress and FDA have acted because companies fail to adequately ensure quality. That's the reason why we need to monitor it and the reason why we exist within the FDA. In 1938, I remember when I was in pharmacy school, my first year in pharmacy school, the thing we went through was what was called the history of pharmacy. And they laid out all of these regulations in rather lengthy detail. First one was in 1938. Based on 100 deaths from the elixir of sulfanilamide came the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act of 1938. That was set up to make sure that safety studies were required for new drugs. So we got the safety part that's covered back to 1938. Unfortunately, it had to wait until 1962 with a thalidomide issue that they actually amended that particular act, and that was the Kefauver-Harris amendments to the FDAC Act of 1938. They need to prove that drugs are both now safe and effective. One of the things I want to point out, although this was not the main reason or the main focus how quality all of a sudden came into existence, because quality was always there. It was something that companies, we would hope that were striving for prior to 2015. But in 2015, because of the serious injuries and deaths from global heparin crisis, it really put a focus on quality of the pharmaceuticals. So now we have the safety, efficacy, and now the quality that we need to look at for the drugs that are out there in the marketplace. In 2015, in January of 2015, The Office of Pharmaceutical Quality was stood up. That's really government language for just saying that the office was established. They call it standing that office up. And it integrates the functions around quality, because quality was done within the FDA, but it was never really focused in one particular office. So Dr. Woodcock, who's the center director for CDER, the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, decided to pull all of those quality pieces together and put that into one office to really focus that effort. And that happened in 2015. So what I want to do is I want to share this slide with you because it provides a nice backdrop for the rest of the discussion around quality. So I'll give you a little bit of a chance to read through it. I don't need to read it for you. And this way it'll give you a little understanding about quality from a patient's or the wife of a patient's perspective. So with that as a backdrop, I want to move on to the next slide and to talk about the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality. So how are we set up? Well, the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality, we're not the inspectorate. The inspectorate is the Office of Regulatory Affairs, so I don't want people to think that we're the ones that go out there and do all of those inspections. We do participate in those inspections, but we do participate because we oversee domestic manufacturing. Not only do we oversee domestic manufacturing, but also international manufacturing as well. So basically, we cover global manufacturing. So the products that we cover are new drugs, biologics, generics, compounded drugs, over-the-counter drugs, and biosimilars. We do all the CMC, the Chemistry, Manufacturing, and Control Review for all of these particular drugs. So it's an awful lot of work that we do, and we cover all the drugs that are basically out there in the marketplace. So it's a rather formidable task. We also address products across their life cycle, from development to pre-marketing to post-marketing as well. And then the areas that we focus on, I'm going to start with the middle one on the right, which is assessment. Assessment is basically we review or we assess the applications. I really want to get away from the term review because we do more than review. Review just implies, yeah, we look at something, we review it, yeah, that's great, we're done. We do way more than that. We actually assess the applications that come into us. So we take them, we look at them, and we assess them based on a risk-benefit profile for that particular product, for that particular application, and then we critically review that and determine if there are risks, where those risks are, and there are appropriate controls in place to address that risk. We also get involved in inspections along with our inspectorate, so we do go out on occasions for those inspections. We also get involved in surveillance. We want to surveil the industry in terms of the quality or the pharmaceutical quality of the industry itself. So really nobody has gone out there and looked at the overall quality state of the industry. So I'm lucky and fortunate enough to say that this year we actually put out our first report on the state of pharmaceutical quality. One of those reports is actually available out in the lobby for those of you that are here today. And it really critiques the state of quality, as the name implies, for the industry itself. We also do research. We also do research. The research we do needs to inform the reviews that we do or the assessments that we do of our applications, but not only that, also the inspections. So when we go out, we know what areas we really need to look at when we do those inspections. So the research is not just research for the sake of doing research. It's really to inform our regulatory policies, to inform our inspections, and to inform the assessments that we do for the applications that we receive. So in terms of the office, this is what the office looks like. I'm not going to go into specific details around the individuals that head up the office, but I want to block these into specific areas to give you a little understanding of how we're organized. So the first three offices that you see here are the ones that perform quality assessment of drug substance as well as the drug product itself. It includes INDs, NDAs, ANDAs, BLAs, supplements. So we really do a lot of that within these three offices, and they're broken out depending upon what area the drug product resides. The next one is our Office of Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Assessment, and this performs assessment, as the name implies, of the manufacturing process and facility. So we need to make sure that the way it's being manufactured and where it's being manufactured is indeed what's in the application, and it's being done according to what that application specifies. We also have the Office of Program and Regulatory Operations, what we call OPRO. We love acronyms in the government, so I apologize for that, but I'll try to stay away from too many of them. And this group manages the business processes associated with quality assessment as well as facility inspections. Just like any company, we need to have processes in place. They need to be defined. They need to be written out. So this group really helps us define those processes to do the work that we do on a day-to-day basis. The next part is the Office of Quality Surveillance. As the name implies, it monitors the information about the entire inventory of CDER-regulated sites and products. And that hovers around 5,000 sites that we're responsible for providing oversight to. Again, another formidable task. The Office of Testing and Research performs research to support scientific standards, policies, as well as surveillance and investigational testing. Like I said, it really needs to inform the work that we do in that Office of Testing and Research. It's not just capricious research that's done just for the sake of doing research. It's really to inform the work that we do on a daily basis. We have the Office of Policy for Pharmaceutical Quality. As the name implies, develops policies, standards, guidance documents related to drug quality. We also have the Office of Administrative Operations. This is a new office that was just recently stood up. And this performs all the administrative operations that we have to do, our budgets, our hiring, things along those lines. So you put that all together, and it ends up being the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality. As I mentioned, the Office of Pharmaceutical Quality exists to really bring together all of the quality pieces of the quality functions that are done within the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. However, we can't do this alone. So we do partner with two other offices. One is the CDER office, which is the Office of Compliance, which is the enforcement arm of quality, and also with the inspectorate, ORA, the Office of Regulatory Affairs. They're the ones that actually go out and are responsible for doing the inspections that we agree to. So you pull that together and it gives us that one quality voice. We codify that in two reports. One is our annual report, which again is outside for those of you that are here. The other one is a report on the state of pharmaceutical quality. So if you want to get some more detail about the office, those two pieces are of particular interest to you. By all means, you can go out and take a look at those. In terms of our priorities, there's 4 priorities that I want to focus on, well, that are our focus within OPQ. The first one is to collaborate, which is where we try to strengthen OPQ's collaborative organization. The other one is innovate, where we promote availability of better medicines. Communicate is to elevate awareness and commitment to the importance of pharmaceutical quality. Hence the reason why we're here. Hence the reason why we have these symposiums. And then the last is to engage, which is to strengthen partnerships and engage shareholders or stakeholders. So what you will see is that these 4 areas will guide the symposium over the next 2 days, well, over today and tomorrow. So really trying to pull together the office and giving you a flavor for what we do and how we do it. So when we collaborate, we want to strengthen OPQ's collaborative organization. We have around 1,400 staff within OPQ. And assessments in a given year, we assess about 20 biologics, over 200 new drugs, over 3,000 investigational new drugs and biologics, around 4,000 generics, and around 7,000 supplements. So you can see just by the volume alone, the reason for the office being as large as it is. It's a lot of work to do. It takes a lot of great people to make all of this happen. So session 1, which is focusing on this particular priority, is on manufacturing and the quality assessment of applications. So you'll see that in the symposium over today and tomorrow. And session 4, which is happenings in biologics. We have biosimilars in these transition products that Dr. Cavazzoni had referred to. That will be elaborated on in one of the sessions as well. So that takes care of 2 of the 4 sessions. The next one is to innovate, where we want to promote availability of better medicines. So we have emerging technologies. You heard Dr. Cavazzoni talk about emerging technologies, both for small molecules as well as large molecules. So for small molecules, you'll see up here CM, which is continuous manufacturing. We do a lot of work in there as well within that area for small molecules, as well as model-based control strategies, 3D printing. It's one of my areas that I get involved in some of the research that's being done within one of our offices. It's one of the passions that I have, so I still try to do a little bit of that when I can. Biologics, again, continuous manufacturing, usually downstream of the process, as well as being able to take a look at things such as pharmacy on demand. What we want to do is to be able to manufacture products on demand, right at the site of where the patient is. So site of use, if you will, is one of the things we're trying to look at for both small and large molecules. That will be in session 3, where you see emerging technologies in the FDA. then communicate, elevate awareness and commitment to the importance of pharmaceutical quality. So we want you to join us in that commitment to quality. And actually, you've already taken the first step by signing up and being part of the symposium over the next 2 days. So and that's what this one shows. We also want to engage where we strengthen partnerships and engage stakeholders. So if you have a quality metrics program, let's talk about that. We have a program set up where we can talk about that with you. We also have a complex generic product that if you'd like to market, we can talk to you about that. So we really want to engage. We're setting up ways to engage with the industry to hear from you as well. So the third program that we have is an innovative approach. Well, if you have an innovative approach to pharmaceutical product design and manufacturing, talk to us through our emerging technology program. We do have a guidance that's out there that tells you how to do that. And the fourth one is a manufacturing site that, if disrupted, would result in a risk to patients. You hear a lot about drug shortages. So if you run into that problem, we ask you to join us and talk to us about our site engagement program. So these are ways we do outreach with the industry in these particular areas. And that'll be in session 2, where it's quality beyond application approval. So in conclusion, we can't do this alone, obviously. So join us in a commitment to that pharmaceutical quality. We continually ask the industry to support us in being able to do that and making it effective. So one of the challenge questions, which is here, is this statement true or false? Quality is a concept unique to manufacturing pharmaceuticals. How many think that's true? Nobody? All right. How many think it's false? Ah, there you go. Great. So everybody's awake. I love it. So you're right. It is false. It's a quality product of any kind consistently meets the expectations of the users. So the next challenge question is, which of the following is not a strategic priority of OPQ? So I ask you to really think hard about this. So we got 4 strategic priorities. There's 4 pieces up here: collaborate, innovate, constipate, communicate, and engage. Yes, some people think that because it takes us so long to do things that maybe we are constipated in certain things, but nonetheless, it's a little hint there. So which of the following is not a strategic priority? I think everybody knows what it is, and yes, it is constipate. So that's good. So try to keep the questions a little bit on the simple side and add a little bit of humor in there as well. So what I want to do then in summary is that this is a shared responsibility. Pharmaceutical quality needs to be a shared responsibility with a focus on patients and consumers. Because you've got to remember, you have prescription drugs, but you also have OTC or non-prescription drugs. Together we can provide them confidence in their next dose. Remember, quality can be defined as the safety and efficacy of the next dose. So what I want to do also is, in conclusion, I want to leave you with this last slide, which is actually a video, because I do have a number of people that come up to me and they say, Mike, I've been with the FDA for 4 years. I spent a chunk of my career, 25 years or so in the pharmaceutical industry. People ask me, do I enjoy the job? Why am I here? Do you plan on staying there for a longer period of time? You've been there 4 years. What do you think? And all this kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, it's this slide, it's this video in particular that I think will drive home why I continue to stay and actually why I joined the FDA to begin with. So just listen to this.
My husband was a fighter until the bitter end. He would have given anything for one more day. And I know that he would want me to make sure that this doesn't ever happen to anyone else. Please do not let his death be in vain. We as a family need to know that some good can come of this tragedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I joined the FDA, and that's why I'm still at the FDA. So enjoy the rest of the symposium. Have a great 2 days. I will be around for the 2 days. So if you want to introduce yourself, you have questions, I'd be more than happy to chat with you. So thanks again.